Всем привет.
Hello, everyone.
Сразу давали мерча, я его вложу, потом обсудим, кому он достанется.
There's some merch here. I'll put it here, and yeah, we'll decide who gets it. My name is Dmitry, and we'll talk about protecting clouds.
Так,
And
обо мне. Кто я вообще такой? Типа,
speaking about myself,
я занимаюсь
who am I and what I do? I'm
в целом работаю
doing security, and I work in SOC, starting from L1, and now I'm leading L3 in the big Yandex SOC. Now I'm managing infrastructure group and platform development in Yandex Cloud SOC.
С какими проблемами SOC сталкивается в облаках?
So what are the issues that the SOC has with the cloud?
Облачную
What
инфраструктуру,
is the difference between cloud attacks and on-prem attacks?
security posture management
What is cloud security
и как CSPM
posture management and CSPM?
защищаться от атак.
And how it helps the SOC to protect
Как защищать
against
облако,
attacks.
нужно понимать, как оно работает.
So to know how to protect the cloud,
Черный ящик.
it's important to understand how it works. It's not some magic black box. Let me explain some services that will help you understand how it works.
Это ускорение развертывания
So
инфраструктуры.
first of all, it's needed, the cloud is needed to improve the speed of infrastructure deployment. You can deploy 100 virtual machines in minutes. It's also responsibility distribution. I will talk about it later, but typically you would delegate some infrastructure support functions to the cloud provider. And you would also save your cloud expenses, like racks, routing, and a lot of discussions, a lot of things that you don't want to do. And of course, the cloud would enable you to fast any service faster, to start any service faster. So what are the trends? What's going on? So based on different researches, there's more than 2,000 organizations in Russia using the clouds, and they live in the cloud infrastructure. And of course, it's no surprise that with the growth of cloud organizations and their clients, the amount of attacks on them increase. And of course, we see it really growing. And also, we need to put, of course, more attention on providing cloud security. So what are the pros and cons? Starting with pros, the provider would solve all your questions with a data center. I mentioned this already. Next is scaling. It's only limited with your budget. How much money you have on the bank card, that's exactly what you can spend with the cloud provider. And also it's ready tools, like
Облако позволяет вам быстро и гибко настраивать
инфраструктуру. The cloud allows you to manage your infrastructure very fast. And of course, being able
помогает решать большое количество задач.
So it helps to solve a lot of issues.
Один из ключевых и самых непривычных
Speaking about negative things is that you don't have a perimeter. All the APIs, all the cloud APIs are open to the outside. Of course, they have authentication, but you can address them. And this creates questions. This is how cloud providers worked. Often, you are limited with what the provider has. Like, if you don't have a service that the provider has, and you will have to create it yourself. The more services they provide, of course, the more flexibility you have in managing your infrastructure. And yeah, everything new is good. And having not enough people is also an issue. There's not enough cybersecurity specs. There's even less cloud security specs. Also, you share responsibility. We show this on every presentation. So all the cloud providers actually like it. It's IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, and how it differs from the on-prem. So the blue depicts what the cloud provider is responsible for, and non-colored are the parts that you are responsible for. So on-prem, you're responsible for everything. Yes, virtualization, server storage, networking is done by the cloud provider. PaaS is IaaS plus runtime management, and SaaS is when the cloud provides you with the app that just works. So, access management. Cloud has a thing called resource model. Of course, I will be basing my what I say on the Yandex Cloud, but wherever you go, that will be pretty much the same. So on the right, you see different resources like virtual machines, disks, networks, and they are grouped into catalogs of folders. And the folders are then grouped into clouds, and then the clouds are grouped into the org. And then you can bind some accounts or users to the organization. So to appoint those roles and to manage the access control is we have IAM, the rights management for cloud resources. And it's important to understand that. And we have two types of accounts. Service accounts for automation and user accounts. And you can divide this in two groups. Local, like with Yandex Cloud, it can be created in the console, and federated, where you can create single sign-on, sync with the AD, QClock, and others, depending on which account you're using. The authentication method would differ. So I'll say a couple of words about the service ones for CI pipelines and stuff like that. Besides M tokens, there's a thing called authorization keys. They allow to have long-living secrets, like you can issue them and use them for a year, 2 or 3, depending on what retention period you've set up. You can use them for CI pipelines. Further on, we finished with the basics, so let's talk about the attacks. What's important is that previously it was very beautiful. You have a perimeter, you connect through VPN or local network. Nothing is published outside. You had EDR, NGFW, firewall, all the classics. But with time, the amount of services that organization uses is growing, leading to things like this. When you have both on-prem and cloud-based and SaaS services, you go to some different clouds, and besides things that you had, so yeah, you need to manage a lot of things, you need to monitor a lot of things, and you need to inventorize a lot of things. So, talking about kill chain, there was many steps, and you could put alerts on each and every one of them. But yeah, with IaaS and PaaS, the kill chain does not change much. But with SaaS, you don't have all the stages where you can create alerts easily, like the malware actor can, malicious actor can create some, get some secrets and just go to exploit. It doesn't need to persist, doesn't need to connect to the CNC, and all the standard things like flow logs, DNS won't help you much. So let's have a look at the 3 scenarios. with attacks using different technologies that we need to understand what is it and how to protect against it. First of all, public S3.
Не делайте так, пожалуйста.
That's classics. Don't do it like this.
Выглядит следующим образом. Вы можете побрутить
So the attack
S3 бакеты в области
is very direct. You just look for the S3 buckets, and if they are not configured properly, you just get all the data.
атака заканчивается.
That's the end of the story.
Минить бакеты в целом просто
So mining buckets is quite simple.
видно что-то. Вы
Do you see?
можете
Do you see it? Okay.
консоли, можете
Yeah, you can just grab it through console or create a Python-based tool or go to GitHub to find a tool
который
like S3 Scanner
в любом проводе
that will allow you to
нам найти бакеты. Просто
list a custom config and with any provider to just find the buckets.
бакет, поспрейл,
I
мы видим
created a bucket, sprayed it, and found some objects,
тексты, у нас к нему есть full доступ.
secrets text
Можем сделать,
that we have access to.
просто его скачать,
And of course,
там секреты.
we can download it and
Это
yeah,
второе.
have access to the secrets. So don't store your secrets in the buckets.
Атака супер простая.
Super easy attack.
От нее может быть большой, потому что
But it can have a huge impact because in S3 you can have personal data, documents, and this is very interesting to the actors to compromise your infrastructure.
разработчика, девопса, админа,
And
тот, кто имеет доступ к
token stealing
схема
for
следующая.
the developer or whoever has access to
Стилер, вы можете закоммитить свой токен во внешний репозиторий, и там пройдутся гриппом и посмотрят, типа,
to the cloud. So you can commit it to the repository, and then the grep will check it. Then you access the console to use this secret and run the action. If you think that the stealers for the clouds are a myth, no. Here's a stealer for both clouds and Macs that steals GCP tokens,
и, соответственно, злоумышленник может ими пользоваться.
and yeah, the actor can use them.
От наших зарубежных
So the link is to the research from our foreign colleagues.
интересно, можете почитать. Соответственно,
If you're interested, by all means, go and have a look. So the actor would get the secrets, use them in the secret and in the config, and like with cloud, it's you just use Yandex Cloud CLI and authenticate there.
у него есть права, листят биндинги,
And then, of course, he gets access to rights, list the bindings, list the service accounts, and
разных фолдеров.
list all the instances in different folders. And in the end, yeah, he would just delete everything.
Нет инфраструктуры.
So, yeah, you don't have infrastructure anymore.
Атака на сервис метаданных. Сначала
Third scenario would be attacking the metadata service.
способ доставки секретов в облака. Ну или
It's a cloud-native service to
с помощью этого
put these secrets in the cloud, and you can put them to VMs, cubes, cloud functions,
ключики, еще что-то.
SSH keys, and app configuration.
Получать токен сервисного аккаунта, который
And also get the service account token.
Пример запроса выглядит следующим образом. В целом, скажем,
So here's an example of the request. We can
какую-то информацию.
curl the service and get the info.
Пожалуйста,
And actually here we just tell the service, hey, please give us the token from the service account. And you get it back to the virtual machine
облако с виртуалки.
to address the API cloud of the cloud
Все
from the virtual machine. SSRF service, how to use it?
проэксплуатировать SSRF.
You can exploit the SSRF very directly.
Адрес из
Your app would take the address from the URL, and with this URL, from the name of a server, that would address the, for example, metadata service. So, using a simple interface, if your service is vulnerable to SSRF, you will be able to get the token of your service account
получили, все классно, нам нужно
from
понять, какие
the outside.
координаты указывают для
And
конфига. Мы
yeah,
узнаем
if you need to get the coordinates for the config,
зону доступности, соответственно,
Um,
а дальше профит.
you get the folder ID and accessibility area.
Создаем еще
You
один
just
сервисный аккаунт.
need
На
to
первой картинке видно, что мы обращаемся в
create a service account.
сервис аккаунт.
Here's the first picture. You create a victim2 account, and then you add the authentication key, API key for this service account to get this static access. So IAM tokens would live for just 12 hours. We are not satisfied with it. We want to access the cloud structure more often, and then we do a link of the authorize and user account, and then we have admin's service account that we can use to do whatever we want in the cloud. Delete everything, read it, access anything. So, there's a set of issues. Currently, we see the following. There's not enough expertise in terms of cloud security. It's not enough to just protect the infrastructure with some standard methods. You can have EDR, but it will not enable you to fully protect the infrastructure. You can use some classic tool, but protecting cloud-native things is not solved. And the second thing is the complexity of controlling heterogeneous resources. The client would not understand fully what's going on, and if you take an average security person in a company, they would never know what happens with the cloud. And of course, monitoring should start with the inventory. Also, we don't know how to protect and what to protect, and we don't even understand the cybersecurity stance of the company and the infrastructure. So, to add to this, it's not often enough to just press the VM creation button. It's important to configure it properly. And so the cloud providers need to help the client solve this problem. And we have CSPM service, Cloud Security Posture Management Service. That's very easy. Here is the definition from the internet. It's a system to manage the security state of the cloud, and too many letters, too many words. But basically, it's a system that enables you to monitor the cloud resources and give you feedback on how to set the resources up.
Сбор информации, в целом это какой-то...
So CSPM is responsible for inventory, for applying the expertise by analysts of CSPM, creators of the CSPM contacts, to the results of this inventory. It also helps the SOC to monitor hybrid infrastructure. And you can correlate with other systems. So it's a point of entry that will help you understand what's happening in your infrastructure. Like if you use AWS and other things in one place, it saves money and time to create content. It's complex. It's a long process. You need to test it. Understand the alerts, understand how the system works, understand false and true. So CSPM would give that out of the box, because the expertise of people like me who are doing cloud security every day is there. And also CSPM can help fix your things by just pressing a button. Just generate some recommendations and at least one shot of what's going on will help you understand what's wrong. And it works well in all the configs, like all the types of cloud, IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. In IaaS, it monitors the virtual machine configuration, the network protocols and services. In PaaS, it's things like managed DB creation or how you protect the cubes in the cloud. And because there's always a cloud part and cube runtime. And yeah, also if you have apps, it will help a lot. So speaking about our experience with attacks, we have distribution of course, malware being top one, then misconfigs being 30%, and then data exfiltration and secret storage issues. And here are the areas where CSPM helps. So percentage-wise, more than 50% is misconfig and keys. Then IAM keys rotation is our top. It's the static keys. They're often issued and they don't have expiration period, meaning that, after 5 years, if you put it on GitLab or GitHub, and you definitely will, or your developer is leaving the company, you need to monitor it. Unencrypted buckets, lack of security groups. It often happens that the client would put the security group on a virtual machine. And for the security group, all the ports and 000 mask is done for the connection. So it's just an illusion of security. Misconfigs. So CSPM works in the following way. Everything has an API in the cloud. CSPM goes there, takes the information from IAM information, and then the rules are applied, or analytics. Of course, you can create your own ones, and they are applied to the data. And of course, as a result, you get the inventory, you get misconfigs that are relevant for our cloud, and you have compliance score. So you can understand what is the percentage of the things that work wrongly. So yeah, you'll be able to understand. So on the left is scans, on the right is the criticality distribution. And the checks we are running, so it's not all of them. In red are the resources that fail the check, and in blue, the resources that comply. And yeah, speaking about resources that are gathered, we gather everything through the private API, because we can. And we are Yandex Cloud. And you are just limited to things where you have API. If you have something that is not related to API, you can also gather that data in the CSPM. A couple of examples, more public IP addresses. You need to understand which virtual machines have internet access and which of them you can address through the internet. MIPI key rotation will just help you monitor the static credentials and ensure they are rotated. So we talked about the CSPM, and let's talk about how we can use it in the SOC. 3 main scenarios. First, integration. Second, incident response. And third, analytics. If we talk about integration, we see the following. So here's the scheme with a lot of arrows, and you can use the inventory in CIM for your correlation rules, create lookups, lists, or you can add alerts to the CM and enrich them with some data sources. Same can be applied to SOIR and add data to pipelines so that alerts will be parsed. And often in SOAR, you can enrich the data, like you get an alert that some cloud has a spraying event or something like this. You can go to the CSPM and through an automated tool or to the database and understand what this cloud is, what it has. At least to have an identifier, a name for the cloud. So yeah, looks like this. You can do some simple selects, and the slide has all the compute instances for the organization, and the name and the ID and the cloud folders. So also you can enrich that data in SIM. And here's an example from our client. So based on the event in the external repository, seeing the M token, we enrich the information about this service account. So we take this service account ID, and based on this ID, we enrich the data about where it is, its name, and stuff like that. So this helps the analyst to investigate much faster. Analytics. So let's see some examples based on the attacks that we've already discussed. So there's a check for the bucket being public. Please don't do this. If you comply with all the requirements, you have information about public buckets. Check that you have everything and close everything. You most probably don't need it. Token stealing attacks. Check for federation, because that will help you remove the tokens. Static key analysis. You need to understand which keys have been issued and somehow control the amount. Sometimes but it happens to be 100,000. And rotation, of course. You can rotate your keys so that they don't leak and are not used in a number of years. Here's an example of the checks. It's a very simple SQL. You see, we address the table that has all the users in the organization. We're looking for the user, and we're looking for the claim, the federation parameter, to be set to 0. So it's a local user. It's high chance that this is a non-centralized control on the users, and it should not be done. Also, metadata service attacks. It's a check that the virtual machine has a white IP, that the static key is issued, and also admin accounts check. So there should not be too many admins in the cloud. You need to be very granular in your access control. If you have 100 admins, definitely you're going to have issues. Speaking about incident response, here are a couple of cases about how CSPM can help in the incident response. For example, you have a service account that's compromised, you think it's compromised, and you need to check the resources this account is binded to. So this simple check will show you all the virtual machines that have this account. And if you want to check if this service account was used or not used in some time frame, CSPM can help you with this. A very simple check. Used and unused keys also can help you inventorize your keys issued and understand that 99% of them is not used. Most probably it's important to remove them. What we get in the end, a very obvious positive thing is a blast radius reduction. Some attacks would be impossible to run if you monitor the resource config. Second is cloud transparency. You see what you have in the infrastructure, which resources you have, what you use, and you have more understanding on and more ideas on how to defend against this all. And also, flexibility. CSPM adds flexibility to incident response. It helps you find different partners for compromised resources as part of the investigation, and this simplifies your life a lot. And the most important thing is the inventory. Without the inventory, it's very hard to protect your infrastructure because you would have blind spots that the perpetrator will infiltrate.
A little bit about the future, or maybe it's present, I don't know. Maybe it's about the present already. CSPM is a part of a big system such as Snap. It's cloud native application protection platform. It's one platform that allows to defend your app in cloud provider at every stage of its development. If we talk about components, then Snap has one of the key is CSPM. Then what's added is workload protection, some monitoring of container runtime, CWPP, data security posture management, which is DSPM. It's when in an open bucket you also add some personal data. So this service will help you understand that in your bucket you have a personal data. CM, please don't confuse with CM. It's control over roles, what roles are available, what are the access rights of accounts, and it gives more transparency. Also, some wound scanners, registry scans at the stage of gathering different integrations with CM, SOAR, whatever, and actions. If you detect a misconfiguration, then you can quickly get AI attacked, generate Terraform, and to correct this misconfiguration. And conclusions. Well, CSPM is a basic solution which will allow to improve safety in the clouds. My personal opinion is that CSPM is like antivirus. It must be in every cloud because you must understand what's going on in your infrastructure. Second, CSPM allows to increase transparency in the cloud, obviously. And overall, on top of some standard tasks, CSPM can significantly accelerate incident investigation. It will enrich alerts in your system, and it will give you more opportunity to detect. A little bit of useful links. We have prepared a security standard in Yandex Cloud for Yandex Cloud. All the controls that we do for us, they are reflected in this security standard. Hactrix Cloud, if you want to get a know-how about how to hack clouds, read about it, try it, play with it. And one last thing is our last year presentation with Vadim Osipov. We told about RCE in managed click house. It includes SSRF. You can see how we're defending ourselves from that. It's a great presentation, and it will give you more information about what tools are helpful to defend your infrastructure. That's all that I have. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Тут не я выбираю, я понял.
Oh, it's not me choosing. Okay, I see.
Отличный доклад, спасибо.
Great presentation. Thank you very much. My question is, when will CSPM be launched in Yandex? And second, you mentioned that CSPM can introduce some changes right away and suggest some improvements, what should be corrected. But in large infrastructures, clearly, when there are thousands of virtuals, they cannot be clicked by mouse. They rolled out by Terraform from a certain repository through CI/CD methods. If we correct something with CSPM, in case if it gets into Terraform or goes into AP, then we are at the risk of the war of corrections. And CSPM will introduce one adjustments, and IET people will introduce more modifications. Should be closer to the ground, down to earth, in order to catch some unfavorable things, interfirm, and cut them off at an early stage? It's an interesting question. How CSPM as a product, how will it be? I guess our product people will tell you more about that, but I guess it will be available in the end of the year. Currently, CSPM is provided as a YCDR system. It's SOC management. Clients that use us as a service, then we give them configurations and misconfigurations and everything. About the second question, you are correct. We are not using this internally because we have a repository and everything rolls out through OKI, and it's going to be a nightmare. But overall, it can give some recommendations how to introduce changes to Terraform, for instance, and these changes need to be introduced in your GitLab, in your Bitbucket, whatever, in a versions control system. Thank you. More questions? Thank you for the presentation. My question is quite simple. You mentioned that cloud security experts are not that many, so it's a rare animal. So my question is the following. Isn't it going to happen in a way that in case if CSPM is given to a normal security person who is far from cloud technologies, and it's quite costly? Yesterday, a colleague says that it generates GIFs a lot. Whether the recommendations are actually applicable for non-experts, are they applicable, useful? Well, we're experimenting now, and we are adding an AI agent for it to give some clear recommendations. We're trying to write a clear playbook recommendations that are user-friendly, do this, and this step by step, so that even a non-expert could just do it and go step by step. And about the fact that there are not many experts, I couldn't hear it. Overall, at the presentation about IDR, there was a full and on cloud security presentation gathered 1/4 of the room. So I guess it's something new indeed.
Здравствуйте, спасибо за доклад.
Hello, thank you for the presentation.
CSPM
that you are using now, is it based on snapshot data or is it next to real-time story? Isn't it going to happen in a way that we have a resource in the cloud that was an open bucket that did not comply with the policies that it was created, but we didn't notice it in time. CSPM did not detect it in time, and we did not give the recommendation to close it in time. Maybe it was created and it was open for some time, then we detected that it's open ourselves and we closed it ourselves. Is there be any signal that for a certain point in time it was not in compliance with policies? In current version, we have deprecated CSPM, which does snapshots. It does snapshots once in a certain time, once per hour, once per day, depending on the way you set it up. But if we're talking about product CSPM, then guys from Vlad Arkhimov and Yura Namestnikov have just spoken about asset manager, and this is something which gathers the history of different resources, condition and situation, what IP it belonged to, what IP this virtual machine belonged to, even if this machine is not available anymore. So CSPM is going to be on top of this next to real-time thing. And you will not end up in a situation that that your bucket was open for some time and then it was closed for some time. But aren't going to be too many false alerts when you roll it out and you do a Terraform, which creates open buckets, and as a next command, it closes them. And as a result, when you roll out, then you receive hundreds of false alerts. Just for 1 second, your objects are not closed yet. Actually, Actually, it's a good remark.
Наверное, тут можно будет делать какие-то ограничения.
How it's going to happen? I guess we should again introduce some limitations. I don't think it should be a problem. Okay, thank you.
Как раз добрый день, Алексей Цукунов,
Good afternoon, Alexei Tikhonov, Gilbert team. The question is based upon the previous question. Then, aren't you planning to produce something, a method that would be a firewall before rollout? So that first, the pre-prod would be rolled out, the pre-production stage would be rolled out. It would analyze the meta information that's about to be rolled out and would say right away, do not roll this out because there are vulnerabilities here. It's a nice thing, actually. As far as I know, let me add more to the question. Because anyway, we know that all the rollout is a request to API of Yandex Cloud. So you get requests. You can build a map of those resources that are being built, and you can extract that, like, here we will have this and this. It will be a logical step in the pipeline. People would just enable this, and then when they see alert, then they would either force it or roll it back. The idea is great. I see the idea. Actually, in the world, these things are available. Biz have it, as far as I know. I think we will arrive to this at some point, because why do we roll out something that shouldn't be rolled out?
Да.
Yeah.
Еще вопросы?
More questions?
Еще тогда один вопрос.
I have one more question then. We used two instruments of this class. We used a NeoCat and we used Cloud Advisor. Maybe I missed something. I missed the start of the presentation. What other tools are available now, or which ones are getting available in Yandex Market? What should we pay attention to for analysis? I will not advertise vendors, first of all. And second, okay, then I will approach you and ask for vendor advertising. And in Russia, you cannot use anyone else.
Так, если, наверное, вопросов нету, то спасибо.
If there are no more questions, then thank you for being here.